Welcome to the Stardom and Situm edition of Fantasy OT. Let's kick things off with some starts. First, Sam Laporta. Laporta is the most recent Iowa Hawkeye to take the NFL tight end world by storm. I mean, really, Iowa seems to be the true tight end university. Laporta is leading all tight ends with 186 receiving yards, and he's second in targets with 22 and receptions with 18. And those 18 receptions are the most by any tight end through their first 3 games. He's also the second leading scorer in PPR formats with 42.6 points through 3 games. And yes, Travis Kelce missed a game, but Laporta has still been very impressive. And this week he goes up against Green Bay on a Thursday night, and while Green Bay has been pretty decent against the pass, I still think Laporta should be involved plenty. With Amon-Ra St. Brown still getting over his toe injury, it wouldn't be surprising to see the Lions lead on Laporta a little bit more. Next, Zach Moss. Since coming back from a broken arm, Zach Moss has been the RB5 overall in PPR formats. He's had 48 carries for 210 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this week, he should have the backfield to himself again. This is the last week before Jonathan Taylor is eligible to come back from the PUP list. But Taylor may not come back. And if that's the case, Moss could have some serious value down the stretch. And even if Taylor does come back, I think Moss has shown enough to earn a decent amount of touches for the rest of the year. He could very well have low-end flex/low-end RB2 value. He's averaged 21.6 PPR points per game, and I think with Anthony Richardson coming back from a concussion, I wouldn't be shocked to see the Colts take things easy with him and them lean on the run a little bit more, which should mean more work for Moss. He's also going up against a Rams team that just gave up 65 yards and a touchdown to Joe Mixon. Next up, Tank Dell. Over the last 2 games, Dell has 12 receptions for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns. And this week, he gets a Steelers team that's allowed the 11th most passing yards on the year. They just gave up 13 receptions for 172 yards and 2 touchdowns to Davante Adams. And I can see Dell continuing to build off of his recent success. CJ Stroud also has the 5th most passing yards in the league. And the Texans have thrown the ball the 7th most in the entire NFL, which is really a surprise given that DeMeco Ryans and Bobby Slowick are there now. But that's only good news for Dell, and the Texans should continue to pass the ball at a high rate. With that, let's segue over to SIDS. First off, Dameon Pierce. Pierce has been very inefficient this year, averaging 2.5 yards per carry and a little bit more than 13 carries per game. And like I mentioned, the Texans have the 7th most pass plays of any team in the NFL at around 64%, which really hurts Pierce's value. Pierce doesn't offer much in the receiving category either. He only has 7 receptions on the year, and I think the future is not going to change anytime soon. Even in a good matchup against the Steelers, who allow a little bit more than 151 yards per game, I think Pierce is too risky to start at this point. Next, DeAndre Hopkins. This one's a little bit tough because Hopkins is the clear leader in this offense in terms of receiving. He has the most receiving yards, most targets, and most receptions. But that doesn't mean much when you have the 3rd fewest passing yards in the league with 449. They also have the fewest passing touchdowns with 1. And to make matters worse, the Titans have allowed the 2nd most sacks on the year with 13. This team has serious pass protection issues, and Ryan Tannehill looks like he's declining pretty quickly. He's holding onto the ball too much, and he doesn't look like himself. With the Titans seemingly having the worst offensive line in the league, it's tough to trust anybody in Tennessee right now. I mean, look at Derrick Henry last week. It also doesn't help that Hopkins is nursing an ankle injury, and he really hasn't practiced much this year. He does look a little healthier this week, but I think until he can score a touchdown or this offense can just put something together, I think he's best left on your bench if you have another option. Lastly, Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry started off the year with a bang, going over 50 yards and scoring a touchdown in each of his first 2 games. But he came down to earth last week against the Jets, where he only had 2 receptions for 17 yards. And I don't think he gets right this week against Dallas. Dallas has yet to allow a touchdown to any tight end. They've only allowed 2 passing TDs on the year. And I know they lost Trayvon Diggs, but they still have Stephon Gilmore. So this pass defense should still be pretty good. And of course, they still have Micah Parsons. So most teams are not going to have too much time to even let routes develop. Dallas has allowed the 2nd fewest passing yards on the year, and I think being at home and coming off of a really embarrassing loss against the Cardinals, they should come out fired up. It wouldn't be surprising to see them come out and try to run up the score and make a point to remind everybody that last week was just a blip. I know the tight end position is thin, but I don't think this is the week to roll Henry out. If you can, pick up someone like a Luke Musgrave. Those are my starts and sits for week 4. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe and let me know your thoughts on who we should start and sit in the comments below.